Going live in one.
All right, we're
And
live.
we're live.
We're here. What is up, YouTube world? Welcome to the Hi There Show. Ian, what is up?
I'm just I'm excited to dive into something new tonight. A new tool.
I am very, very excited. We're checking out FigJam tonight. It's a new whiteboarding tool from the folks over at Figma that they debuted this week. Was it
Mm-hmm.
yesterday or the day before?
Yeah,
At their Config conference, their virtual conference that they're holding. So that's pretty cool.
brand new.
I'm excited to get that on the go. I guess we should do introductions. I'm Nick. I'm Nick Brunt. This is Ian Conrad. We are both UX designers, and this is the Hi There Show. I don't know the show where we what I guess
We do
design.
stuff
We're
live
designers and
and
we design things. And we do it
just
so live, so very live.
do it live for your viewing pleasure and perhaps education.
Hopefully,
And
hopefully.
yeah, well, I mean, we use Figma because it's got this cool multiplayer feature that lets us kind of share the same screen and do design together, which is pretty awesome when you're remote. Um, we thought it'd be cool to stream with, and now they've launched this new product that they call FigJam, which is you might have used products to do online whiteboarding, as they call it, like
Mm,
Miro or Mural.
like Miro. I think everybody's mind goes right to Miro when you talk about this type of thing,
Yeah,
whiteboarding.
so very cool and super handy. I thought before we were all locked down and working from home, but now especially I think it's the closest thing we have to being able to
Mm.
gather around a whiteboard. And now that it's in Figma, that's really cool. I wasn't sure even if it was going to be a separate app or not. I saw that it was, a free app, and I thought, oh, maybe it's a separate thing. So I'm glad it's actually built into Figma. Of course, why would they make it separate? They're smarter than that over at
Mhm.
Figma. But
Well, to me it like fills a hole that's in Figma, or I guess not a hole, but the way that everybody can just sort of load into Figma, or they can load into Figma through a browser is really cool. You get all these mice on the screen. I'm sure you've seen because you're a huge fan of the show out there, viewer. Um, and what people were doing was using it. I know I was using it in that capacity to like whiteboard things, right? Like to draw out flows, app flows, user stories, um, trying to map out the user experience. But now they've sort of introduced this tool, I think, to make a more proper whiteboarding tool that's going to work for non-designers. Like, I really feel like from what I've seen of this app, not having used any of it, that it's aimed at being able to work with a full team.
yeah, I think so. And that's a challenge that I've actually had at work where a few of us have Figma and we're doing our designs. And, we've done it in our show even where we've created like our little sticky notes to go alongside of what we're working on to create notes, right?
Hmm.
Which is, I think they've seen people doing stuff like that. And this is the response to how people have actually been using Figma. But the issue with work for me is like we can give people viewing licenses, but we can't give people
Hmm.
like licenses to actually edit stuff because they wouldn't really get enough use out of it day to day. But because we just have to add so many people, it wouldn't really be, I guess, worth it for the company. But so yeah, we can't really use Figma for the broader team just because they don't have the licenses and even I think the interface too. I take it for granted that Figma and stuff like this is kind of easy to use, but to someone that's never used like a design tool, you wouldn't
Hmm.
just be able to dive in there's too many. You don't need to be able to do all the stuff. So this is going to simplify it. Maybe we should dive in there soon and have a look.
I love the idea of being able to do some of this like larger team design thinking without having them near my meticulously crafted components. Like get out of my file.
Yeah,
I'll
don't
present
touch
the
that.
file. We'll look at the production file later, but let's jump on this thing and we can do sticky notes. It's incredibly helpful. I think that's a major movement in design and certainly UX where involving the whole team up front is like super beneficial to the design process. So this is like I don't know. Where do you see this fitting in on a project timeline? I guess sort of you're in more of the product space, or I'm in more of the vendor space, but I feel like it's, very upfront, even talking about like business goals and stuff like that, like mapping out sort of a board for the tone of the project and stuff like that, all the way up to mapping content maybe like during
Mm-hmm.
production.
All over, yeah, I think all over the place. Definitely at the beginning, and I think like a kickoff. And I think just to start talking about what are we doing and to get alignment with everybody, the stuff that I used to like to do around a whiteboard. And I think that's another key, um, is like, we talked about Miro, but what we tend to use now, honestly, is Word, and it works because we're
Mm-hmm.
typing stuff when we can, drop in drawings, but it's not awesome. But it's because it's what everybody has, and the problem with not everybody having Figma is that we can't use that. It's like the best tool that we've got is just the thing that everybody has access to. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe now, without having to bring in a totally new tool, we can start to get this across the board. But I would use this in, yeah, kickoffs for just because I like to, I like to keep those open in that if somebody wants to draw what they think the app should do, cool, do that.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to drop in a screenshot, do that. If you want to try to draw a flow chart of what you think the steps should be, depending on how different people think. I like to try and present different types of tools or ways for them to just get their ideas out. Like I want to try and take what they
Yeah.
have in their head and put it on paper. So I think,
Well,
now that there's this offers, you could do stickies and like it looks like drawing and stuff's going to happen. I don't know, but it looks like it's going to be pretty good.
yeah, it does look like it's pretty good. You and I have been talking about that whole thing for years. Like, how do you get people to spit out their ideas? Because we just need your ideas. Like, our job as designers is to take all that information and go digest it. Like, we're gonna go eat it up later. So we just need to get the thoughts out. Do you remember like card sorting exercises
Hmm.
and like the different sort of, I don't want to say gimmicks, but like methods you would use to organize a team and get their ideas in a way where you could use it to make a product?
Yeah, I've done lots of those like dot sticky things. I don't know if those have stood the test of time really, but voting on different ideas and
Voting.
whatnot and wherever those came from. But what are we doing here?
So yeah, this is pretty cool. They debuted this at the Config conference. Did you get to check any of that out? Did you listen to any of it?
No, I'm gonna have
Tell
to
me the
look at the
truth.
recordings because that was just like um, one of those days where I just couldn't escape,
I had the same thing. I had
unfortunately.
converging deadlines this week, and I really wanted to make one of the community cards that they were doing because that's super cool. Did you see anything about that?
Well,
It was
yeah,
like,
it looks
okay,
cool.
so it's a virtual conference, and you could design your virtual name tag in Figma, like making a nice template, and then you could upload it to the community, and other people would be able to see it. I wanted to make one for Hi There, but then I thought it sort of seemed like shameless self promotion to show up at a virtual conference and be like, hey, this is our YouTube thing. Check it
Hey,
out.
check us out. Maybe
Hey,
next
check us
year.
out.
But
Check
that's
us
where
out,
I,
Mr. Figma. I think we show a lot of promise on this streaming
Mr.
platform.
Figma, CEO of Figma Corp. But that's where I learned about on Twitter. Learned about the FigJam, and that's basically all I know about it. I haven't looked into it at all. So that's maybe.
It's a funny thing. I don't think anyone that works outside of our field would really get it, but I saw this and was legitimately so excited about how easy this could potentially make things. I also think in terms of the design, maybe we can flip over to Figma now.
Yeah, let's do it. And this is a true unboxing. Like literally, we've only seen
Yeah, we
this
haven't used this
screen.
yet.
So,
No, I've been dying to get at it all day.
drum roll. Finally, my face is a bit smaller. I can be a little less self-conscious. Here it is, folks. If you're familiar with Figma, you're familiar with the multiplayer concept where you've got it's. I know we talk about it all the
Magic.
time, but it's just super
It's
cool.
a whiteboard.
The technology to make this work behind the scenes is kind of impressive, and especially the fact that it's like there's not really much lag or delay between what we're doing. Like we can actually like design the same thing at the same time. Pretty
Hmm.
awesome. It's like they were It's like they knew the pandemic was coming all along. I almost say it's a little too convenient, if you ask me.
Um,
But look, we got the
that looks
onboarding
like
and
a B.
everything.
I wanted to do an F. I wanted to do a cursive F. We'll do FigJam.
Pinch to zoom on a trackpad and hold Control Command while scrolling, or use plus minus. Oh, neat. Next. Ooh, use the hand tool to drag or move around. Hold space to activate at any time. Nice. Invite others. Okay,
Well, are you
cool.
looking at tooltips? What are you doing? Is this on stream?
Yeah, I went through the tutorial.
Okay.
Tooltip process. Invite others and share. That's very cool. That's what we're doing. Figma fam. Oh, open tutorial. Maybe later. Cool. Well, I mean, this is it. It's much simpler. You know, there's not. It's a pretty much just a big white canvas on kind of like a dot grid, which is exactly like the notebooks that I draw in. So much love there. And as you can see, there's a pencil or perhaps a pen tool. Oh, they call it a marker. Huh. All right. Nice.
All right. Marker's a nice sort of catch-all tool. I actually did get to work on a drawing tool similar to this at one point. Making a computer draw nice smooth lines that turn into a vector that you can select later and do all these neat things with. Like you'll notice, I guess you can't see my screen, but I can select these letters differently or individually differently.
Yeah, we can see.
That means they're vectors. So these are vector objects, and I can go change.
Very cool.
My
All
bad
right.
drawings. Okay, sorry. I feel like I'm going to get in so much trouble with an app like this because people are going to be doing serious work and I'm going to be in the corner doodling. But
No,
we can move on.
That's how it works. I'm just showing the
Add
folks on
text
the
in a
stream
circle.
what happens because they can't really see our interface. I'm just showing what happens when you click on this marker. So you can pick a color. It's not too complicated. You got your basic red, yellow, green, blue. I don't see an orange. Is this an orange or is it brown? I don't know. I'm colorblind, remember? Brown is just an orange anyway.
Really?
Yeah, brown's not brown. Yeah, brown's orange. Basically, that's a whole thing we can get into. And thick or thin. You can't even put in a hex color, which, you know, in a way that the reasoning behind that probably is keeping it simple, and also just if you can't do it, then you're not going to waste your time messing around with it.
Yeah, exactly. They want, I think they sort of put features in here to make it fun, but not necessarily stylish, which is fine. It's not a visual exercise, I guess. What is all this cool stuff? There's like emojis and
Look, my cursor
like
changes to a marker.
This is
That's neat.
like a really cool social experience.
I
I'm putting stuff on screen. So, okay, I saw a GIF floating around. Can you go to your move tool?
on stream or my
Yeah.
own?
Okay, hold on.
Oh wait, here. Let's do this one.
Yeah, okay. And
Okay,
then don't move.
Wait, no.
I
Now
saw
I'm
a
ready.
GIF
I'm
on
ready
Twitter
now.
of the two move tools high-fiving, and if it works, I'll be so happy. Okay, hold still. Oh no!
Was it
Cursor chat stamp emote.
were we bamboozled? What's
I can
that?
like send emotes.
You can
That's pretty cool.
You can radiate. What is that?
Hold on. Can we not high five? Can we listen, Mr. Figma,
Maybe we have to
Mr.
click.
Elliot Figma, leader of Figma Corp. If you're listening, can you jump in here and just let us know how to high five like the GIF from Twitter? Because that's where it's at.
Do I have the chat open? Pop out in the chat.
Pop out in the chat, Mr. Figma. We're dying to hear from you. It's been a long time. I do think we are deserved it. That's all I'm saying. This is really cool. So there's, I think with the social features, there's sort of like a sheen of fun here that is lacking in a lot of other places, maybe like Word.
Yeah, Word.
You know what I mean? Like there's thumbs up and there's stars and there's fun emojis that animate and stuff like that. And I think that's maybe an effort to make it a positive experience instead of just going through like, you know, sticky note hell with 12 people.
And look, you can make different shapes, parallelograms.
Where are the different? Oh, you can. Is there a rhombus? I see a diamond. Okay.
This is an
And then I'm
italic
assuming
square.
I can connect
Oh,
points
we're
on
gonna get into
shapes.
some flowcharts.
Let's
Hard.
flow a chart.
Hold on.
I'm gonna get rid of some of the chaff here.
I want to see what these. I want to explore fully what all this stuff does. Is this like a penmanship tool? What does this mean?
A penmanship tool, like
There's like a little feather. Oh, show hide author. Oh, I can take credit for my good ideas, but hide my controversial questions. You know, those questions that rock the boat, like whose idea was this?
yeah.
Or,
Is this something people want to use?
yeah, why would anyone ever want to see this ever? Okay, hold on.
I always get a kick out of we want it to be fun, and it's like, so what? Can you tell me what about your business or this experience gets people to fun?
Fun and delightful. Yeah, what do you do? Well, we're a bank.
How can I edit how can I edit this text? Oh, okay. So we have heading, subheading, normal, title. I don't think there's a lot of text options in terms of font
No.
and whatnot.
There's bulleted lists, which is handy. It's my favorite type of list.
Do
You
you
can
know
add a
how
hyperlink,
to
the
do you know how
fastest
to
type of link.
make do you know how to make a bullet like as you're typing, just like the bullet symbol?
No,
Little fun trivia for you here, a little
no, I
nerd
want to know.
trivia with my bud.
I really want to know.
Um, option 8. Yeah, option 8. In most font sets, unless it's like,
Option 8?
option 8.
That's
Oh, is that so satisfying? You can
I've
make all the
needed to
bullets you
use
want.
that. The amount of times I've had to go look up bullet character to paste it.
Yeah,
This
I
is going to
used to have
save
to
me
do that too.
minutes a year.
Well, on a Windows machine, you're holding like Alt 015 something. On Mac, it's just Alt. Like Alt G is copyright. Alt 2's TM. Are all the fun symbols that nobody ever uses, but you
Ooh, how do
still
you
have
get
to put in a
those
font.
fun symbols?
Okay, I feel like we got to organize here. What are we gonna flow here?
I mean, we had that job site we were working on that we needed to make a flow for. Do we have something
Yeah.
better we can make a flow for?
Geez, I sure wish we had users send us in ideas for things to make. What can we flow out? I don't want to get too complicated. This kind of comes up too, where it's like, what do we want to flow out? And then it becomes monstrously complicated.
You can put a sticker of your own face. I don't know if I like that. I want to.
Okay.
I'm gonna change my avatar to somebody else on the team for sure.
Here we go.
What?
Hold on. So you can comment on elements here. Somewhere.
That's like
Show hide author. Okay.
I'm gonna get swatted now.
You're gonna get swatted now. It's
We.
me. It was me. And it's not even the police. This is me demanding that you let me in. All right, we get the thumbs down, the question mark. Who is this guy? We don't like his work, that kind of thing. Is there a comment?
Oh, here's the thing that I was trying to figure out.
Yeah. Wait. How are you doing that? Does that move around with your cursor? Okay.
Oh, it
And
goes
then it
away after a
fades.
while because you're only allowed to. It's a fleeting thought, I guess. So to do
Okay.
that, you go into this stamp thing, but then you
Yeah.
hit the sparkly head icon,
Okay.
and you can get some kind of cartoon
Oh, some
eyes,
spicy sort of memes.
very spicy flame icons. Say something.
Oh, neat. Who are you? Yeah, I don't know. Can you imagine hosting like a design session? Like, you know how people used to sneak into Zoom calls? Imagine if somebody snuck into your like very boring like information architecture session.
Yeah, just like float around like this, like. Well, so interesting story. We have a meeting tomorrow to plan for a journey map workshop,
Okay.
and we're like, oh, I'll have to figure out a tool, and I'm like, well, Figma put out this
Wow.
new thing called
Hey.
FigJam, and just so happens the me and my best pal Nick are going to be testing it out tonight. So I'll let you know how it goes.
Hmm. So you're
So we'll
profiting,
see.
I suppose.
Um,
You're taking
I
this and
will
you're making big fat.
I will professionally benefit. Yeah, I'm not currently
Okay.
profiting,
Okay.
but
No, that's a good page to get on.
that's
Um,
I thought we were clear on why I'm here.
so I definitely know, but for the benefit of our users out there, what do you mean when you say journey map?
Oh, a
Let's make a
journey
journey
map.
map.
Well, it's a map of a journey,
Mm-hmm.
and when I
Okay.
essentially, basically, that's what it is. So we were talking about flows. It's basically, you might say user journey or customer journey or journey
Mm-hmm.
map, and it's basically the journey, if you want to use that word, or path or
Mm-hmm.
flow that somebody, a user of your product or a customer of your company or app takes, kind of, and it's like a high level experience through and through. So I like to start the journey map at like, how did they even find out you exist?
Mm-hmm.
Where are they starting, like before they found out about you, maybe like the
Mm-hmm.
journey of solving their problem, and maybe they type something into their favorite search engine like Bing, and they find you there, and then they land on your
Yeah.
website,
A lot of
and you
good
might take
content
them.
like in that bingo sphere, you know?
Mm-hmm. The Bingosphere. Yeah, and so it's kind of a high level step by step through. Um, you can do various like, I guess, levels. Like you can do very very detailed and higher level. I usually like to start at a pretty high level and just kind of map how people interact with your product.
Mm-hmm.
You know, depending on the complexity of it, there might be times where they interact with like a person at a time. And they come back, and maybe they come back to your site more than once. And you can plot things like pain points that people have, like what people are thinking at the time, like emotions, like usually is a common thing. Like you might have some ups and downs, about
Oh
what people are
man.
feeling, like, oh, people are stressed at this point in the journey. So what now that we know this about the user, what steps can we take to maybe alleviate their stress, or make
Mm-hmm.
sure that they know everything is working well, and going fine, etc. So
What are
yeah.
those? It's funny you mention all of this because I was actually kind of this is the jam I've been on all week. I hate the term psychometrics,
Holy
and I
crap.
refuse to type it in any document ever.
I don't think I've heard psycho and metrics put together in one word before.
Have you never heard the term psychometrics?
I've heard
I've heard it. It's sort of
psychographics.
when you're talking about like a user's like their attitude and feeling like going into a product, and how you want them like
Okay.
thinking and feeling as they come out of it. Oh, maybe I'm thinking of psychographic. I
No,
am thinking of
psychographics.
psychographic, like demographic, obviously.
Psychographics are like, no, that's more like, it's more like demographics, but more like behavioral. So I think, yeah, psychometrics, it's almost like measurements and metrics about like, yeah, how people are thinking and feeling. That's pretty.
Probably not metrics, more like graphics, but yeah. I don't know if you could quantify how someone's feeling, although I'm sure there's companies out there doing that right now. We get a
Oh, I
bug. I
bet.
can't make that text box any smaller, and it's driving me nuts. There we go.
I'm looking at this thing that this library section here quickly, and I can see a bunch of like stickers and emoji type things. But I'm
I do see
wondering,
that. Some pretty
are
slick
can
vectors.
we make our
Candy Bites
own?
created.
Because like it's called components, so can we add our own like component library to this and make our own like sticker packs?
Oh, we
Like
should
I
make
don't know
our
if
own
it would be.
sticker pack for the Figma community. It looks like you
Yeah.
can just, somebody can maybe
Okay, you
add
can
them.
manage libraries.
Look, again, Mr.
That's gonna.
Figma, Elliot Figma, thank you for watching. We do want to use our style of graphics to make cool stickers for this, so you should get in touch. Bam.
Journey maps.
I'm going to get this sort of prestigious looking, sort of Parthenon looking building in here.
And then you can do stuff like service design. Then you can get into like what do they call them? Service blueprints or
Mm-hmm.
service maps or for service design. And really it's you're kind of looking at, and this is kind of what we have to do, where you're looking at not just the user's journey, but then what's happening on like the back end of the system maybe, or
Mm-hmm.
what are other people doing like inside your company. Like for us, at some point in the if we're getting a new customer, and part of that journey, it's actually they're going to talk to a human and get onboarded probably if they're like a corporate
Mm-hmm.
customer. So like there's this whole back end piece of like things that we do, they call it like backstage, to kind of
Okay.
um, onboard people and like get them set up and whatnot. So, and just, yeah, anything that kind of happens behind the scenes, what the systems need to do and like communicate with each other. That's kind of getting into like the next steps of it, I guess. But
Mm-hmm.
journey mapping, and and you might have you might have different ones depending on like your different users.
Yep.
Maps.
Yes. 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 Okay. What are we
Right.
going to map out? What do you want to journey map with this very cool tool?
Oh, I was just trying to see how these things worked. These vectory components.
Yeah, see, I love the social and sort of fun sheen to this, but man, people are gonna get up to messing around.
Well, it's like Slack, but even more fun to fuck around with.
Yeah,
Except people are going to
exactly.
be
Yeah.
watching you. More people can watch you, so
Oh,
maybe it depends who the crowd is. You get the boss. The boss, once the boss is gone, then the party starts, I think.
does
Maybe.
Figma have a like plugin community? I think they do. I
Yeah.
know they do in the main app anyway, because we need to integrate Giphy with this thing like immediately.
Oh, someone please do it. Okay, what are we going to map out? I mean,
Are we mapping out a thing? What's this, I like a I don't know, like a
well,
web
remember we had our old
experience?
Figma, what we were working on last time, how people were going to navigate through that job site.
Yeah, true. Fair. Okay.
I'm just curious what would happen if we try to like paste some Figma files into here.
Whoa, that's a good idea. Let's check that
Or
out.
open it up
I
on
actually
this
have
other
some
side.
stuff open here right now. I have a frame. I got a frame here. I got a frame in a Figma file I can
Yeah, what
paste in here.
happens?
Works
Whoa.
perfectly.
Does it, it's not editable
It
at all,
doesn't appear,
the
it's not
image?
editable, but it retains its quality. Oh, it's not resizing very well. That might be my fault for not making it resize that well. It's lazy, you might say. But that's cool. I like that.
Interesting.
I made one for high there too, or at least I started
I saw
to.
that there.
Change that real quick. Take all the cuss words out of my mock-ups that Ian and I share sometimes.
Uh-oh. I mean, what else? What are some cool
Uh-oh.
journeys that we could map? Some,
I don't know.
especially if we're the user.
What's
Like,
hot on the internet? What about like bidding on a cheap iPad? Before I got on here, I got an ad for a cheap iPad.
oh yeah, did you bid on it? Like at
Uh,
auction?
Yeah, well, I mean, I gave over certain information about my bank account that would maybe allow that to happen. So I'm just
Hmm.
waiting to hear about how cheap my iPad was. Oh, cool. No shit. Wow, that's handy. It's not going to
Okay.
resize very well, I would imagine. Try
I
it.
think it just turns it into a picture. All right, we're not even
No,
on
because I
screen.
just did. If I
Because
take
what's
this
this?
card
Oh
over
yeah,
here,
you're
like
right.
this config card or whatever, which is fine. I'm assuming if it's built, if the integrity of the Figma file is really good and resizable, maybe that's fine.
But
Because you
what?
could then hypothetically like just resize your mockup down to a mobile layout, couldn't you?
Well, what? Kind not here. I'm like, what? Maybe you could if you did it in the real Figma. I'm just like, what is this file? Because it looks like an image, but I can edit the text, but I can't.
Yeah, I don't know. There might be a way to place things. I mean, this is a pretty common.
I'm wondering if
Oh, Illustrator just crashed on me.
I'm
Whatevs.
wondering if it's intentional in that you can bring in designs for people to look at and they can like change copy if they want. Like
Change
if you're working on it together, like I'm just trying to because it's cool to be able to paste this in. I'm just wondering. It seems like the only thing that you can do to it is change text, and I'm wondering how useful that is. A little bit, maybe.
That's pretty cool. I mean, again, when you're talking about a whiteboard environment or like doing things like limiting colors and stuff like that, like you're making the decision to not let people edit those things, which is probably fine. I mean, I guess you're right. Like, if you can just fully edit the thing, why wouldn't you just use Figma?
Yeah, you wouldn't want to let people do too much. That's for
You
sure.
don't want to let people do anything. They just look at them. Look at it. Cool. Did you restyle that? Oh, I see what you're saying.
No, just put it. I was
Cool.
just like, I guess if you wanted to edit this, you could just put sticky notes over it.
But we can shift resize it, and it's not going to do the layout. Like, it's actually just going to make it bigger or smaller. Is that messing up that file on the other side of things? I don't think. No, it's
No,
not.
it can't be. That's cool.
No. Well, like Adobe has smart objects, so it's sort of that thing where you can put a file in a library and then you can edit it from multiple locations. Is that a component? Oh, +1 all over the place.
I
Ian
just
likes it. My
I just wanted
coworker
to see
quite
it.
enjoys this panel that I put down. That's wonderful.
What? It's weird. Like you can just edit the text. Like, do you see what I was?
Yeah, no, I totally did. I have a second idea for a plugin for this app, 2D physics.
What's
Apply
that?
2D physics to this canvas so I can take an object and just sort of like throw it. And it's got some like kinetic
Mm.
heft to it. Oh,
Oh, that'd
hey,
be sweet.
there's a design.
That's good. I like it.
I'm like rushing to get my stamps. Emojis.
Oh
I
wait,
love it. I
how
love
do
it.
you
I
do
love it. I
that?
love it. Ship it. Ship it. Ship it. Ship it.
I'm shaking my whole computer.
Ship this. Okay. Cool. So I can control Z my stuff, but not your stuff, obviously.
Seems legit.
That's cool.
Bad raindrop.
I can see some PMs out there, like in the web world, cleaning up files because everyone's messing with them so hard.
Oh, look, an agenda kit. PM's
Oh,
cleaning up
cool.
files. Oh, they're just different colors. Meeting agenda. Oh, cool. It's a Oh, so these are Okay. These are. I get it. They're kind of like. It's almost like they're special Figma components that inside FigJam you can just kind of edit text, and they will do what.
That
That's pretty cool. I can
that is
see.
again kind of genius because people were using Figma to do this. Like they would create these components and bring them into the sessions. I saw some people that they were making like Dungeons and Dragons sets.
Okay.
Like so sets of tokens and maps and like all this stuff. So you could essentially like play a full game of Dungeons and Dragons in Figma with other people who were, in there.
That's
which I
pretty
think is
neat.
cool.
Because we were all, I wonder what happens when we do this. Like, I always made like these like post-it notes.
And that's ugly.
Yeah, that's
Ugh.
terrible.
Once a day helpful alerts. What is this from? Is that from the
That's soon board.
soon.board, the
So, you know,
countdown clock for your life?
Figma, Figma listened to its users, or it just watched its users, probably spying on everybody, has access to all of our files.
Yeah, Mr. Figma has access to everything. So I can flow these out with. Okay, so you can do these like connecting wires between panels.
That's pretty awesome.
That is pretty awesome. It creates anchor points on the object, so you can just like it's very drag and drop, you know. And then it gives you your 4 directions. That's really really neat.
Can't change the color
I
of my
used to
sticky
draw this
notes.
stuff. Like I used to draw this stuff in Illustrator, and it would take hours and hours. You know, years
Mm-hmm.
ago, because you would want to do wireframes and user flows and stuff like that, but there wasn't really a tool to just do it. So you actually had to like go in and draw arrows and like
If you wanted them
design
to
a whole
look
document.
nice, yeah. I used to use OmniGraffle, but it looked like garbage. Or Visio.
OmniGraffle. Do you remember Balsamic?
Yep.
It was that sort of wireframe drafting tool that made the edges of your that made the edges of the wireframes look sort of like chipped
Look
up
like you
and cool and
look like you drew it.
stylish. I drew it with my hands. Definitely not anymore. So like a tool like this lets you just work, and then I'm assuming you can export this to some capacity. I'm sure this saves to a PDF. You gotta save to a PDF, save
You
version
know,
history.
that's a good question. What does it do? Cursor
Not
chat. Oh, there's some. Hey, 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 friends. Oh, it's you just have to hit slash. Hey. Cool.
cool.
Cursor chat. It's fun. It's fun to do. Emote stamp. Cursor chat. Does this report a bug?
Some fun colloquial workplace chat.
Oh yeah, a little water cooler chit chat.
Yeah, you know. I don't even know what to type. Be an asshole. All right.
Oh, you can make this really like, yeah, you can make a nice kind of fancy flow chart if you wanted to. So this is more of
Can
a
I
flow chart than a
branch? Can I
journey.
branch those lines off of other lines? Oh no, but you can freeform them. Like if you just click and drag somewhere else, you
Oh,
can.
cool. Look at this. Look at that. Oh, neat.
Look.
You can just
Oh,
make
look
it.
at
This
this.
is art. I almost made
It's
a
art.
bad symbol. Let's make some
No, I was worried about that too.
accidental swastika. I don't know. I'm even afraid
Yeah,
to say swastika. I
no.
think
Yeah,
you're
you
allowed to
get
say it.
demonetized for that. Speaking of demonetized, what up, users? What up, viewers? Thanks so much for tuning in. Hit us up in the chat, ask us questions. Of course, our Twitter links are in the description there. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, mail us a physical letter, maybe hire a skywriter to say hello. But do all
Skywriter's
those
my
things.
preferred.
Yeah, skywriter would be pretty cool. There must be like one in the whole world. There's one skywriter in the whole world that makes a living like doing what he's doing. He lives good because he's the dude. But yeah, check us out, interact at us. We would really appreciate it, and it definitely helps out with the channel as we sort of figure out what the hell we're doing with this whole thing.
We're just figuring it out like everybody else, folks.
We're just working it out. Design's fun, right? I like designing products.
I love to design product. Yeah, I do actually. I like to learn new things and try and figure a thing out. That's why this is super fun. I'm like, what is this? I'm just having fun exploring. So if I was making
Yeah,
a float,
I'm
like
just
you could,
cleaning up some of the chaff. You keep working on while you're. I'm gonna try and like
I'm
help.
gonna
I'm aiding you on
I'm gonna
your.
try and make sure the stream is like centered while we do this too. I'm just trying to think of like, I like it. You can just kind of work with bits and pieces of what you have. Like we were designing some pages last time and we can throw in our designs, but then now we can figure out like the next steps and just like throw in
Well,
like, I don't know, do we put a post-it note or like a this? I don't
you could
even
do a post-it note. You could also use colors to denote like different functions. So a single job page may have like an application process that um, lives
hmm
down here.
Technically, I guess like these are some common flowchart shapes. I don't always like, you use the diamond for a decision, I guess. That's a good one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I had no idea. Oh, like it's an actual diamond. That's a bit weird.
Or man, is that this looks orange to me, but I'm selecting red. Is this my color blindness like kicking in? I'm showing it on stream.
No, that's orange.
It looks
Wait, does that look
orange.
red to you?
No, but
It's
look at the
orange.
when I make the selection though,
Oh,
the color I'm picking looks red to me, but it shows up as orange. They look different to me.
that's a
Is
bit
that
of a
just
bug.
me?
I also noticed a bug here a little. No,
No,
no, you're not
okay.
wrong. That's 100% orange.
Brown looks weird too.
I think I know chat's blowing up right now, being like, "Are you guys all right? It's not. It's red. It's bright red."
You're crazy. I think I should be using these. These are the proper tools to use. These different shapes for the flowchart. I just hate that it's this weird orange creamsicle color. So I would just say like single job page. I want it to be big too. Heading, title.
I would be able to. I would like to be able to freeform drag these boxes just to like any size that I want. Oh, I guess you have it like conforming to text or whatever, so that's pretty cool.
Oh no, you can freeform. Oh yeah, you're right. You can't really freeform it. I don't like that either. It's too unless you shrink it really far down. It doesn't give you much. Well, yeah, it is kind of acting a bit wonky about how you can shape it and size it. Okay, so if you delete that, it deletes the whole thing. That makes sense. I like how, because I've uh, I've used a couple different plugins in order to make flow charts in Figma, and so this is super handy. Decision point. I love a good flow chart. So a flow chart, like I don't know
You
if I'm
do love
making
a good
this.
flowchart. I've known you for years, and I feel like this is somebody made an app specifically for you.
Might be right. I don't know if
You
this
might
is
be right.
true. This is something I've never really looked up a definition for because it's just what I've been learned from other people. But I
Mm-hmm.
differentiate between like journey and flow. Like journey to me is higher level and it might go between different like it's like different people and like different like channels. Like it might be website. You might go from like a search engine to a website to an app. Like it can be pretty big. Although, flowcharts, not to say flowcharts can't do that, but what I usually like these kind of flowcharts is I dig into like you get super detailed. Like this is when you're figuring out
Mm-hmm.
like a journey might have like, oh, you're on a page of a site and you fill out a form, but this is like kind of what you're doing here. You get like really into like every single detail that you need to consider. So of these kind of like user flows or task flows or whatever flow charts,
Mm-hmm.
they get like you get like this is where you get zoom right into like a part of that journey, like this form. If we're doing a job site, this is like the filling out of that form because you can make there's a lot of steps to that. It might sound simple. You fill out the form. That's one step in your journey. Would be like, oh, they fill out the application form and then they get an email or something. But as we zoom into that journey, that part of that journey, we'll figure out like, oh man, there's all kinds of these things on that form that we actually have to like detail out.
Well, and detail out and also modify. So like it's one thing to, I think, plan and launch something, but to use these types of flows to go back later and say, okay, where are the pain points, and actually be able to see it in block form. I know I find super helpful. I discovered something that's really cool. Sorry, that was really interesting, and I don't want to take you away from it for too long. If you create one of these, like a shape, and you go to the edge, there's a plus button,
Okay. Hold on. Let me see
like
if I
right off
can.
the edge of the object. I know, I wish you could see my UI. When you hit that, it generates a duplicate of that object and then just connects it with an arrow right
Oh,
away. So
cool.
you can sort of walk it along
I think
as
I
much as
can.
you want, and it'll dynamically create those
Oh yeah, we
arrows, and
can.
that's super cool.
I can show them here on the stream. Yeah, that's what he's doing here. So we
Yeah.
select one of these and we got, what happens if I do that? Oh, it does a connection
No,
back
well,
on.
you can change those arrows, but if you actually just go off to it, yeah, you get it.
Yeah,
You get it.
that's
Look at
cool.
all that. You're just flowing around.
It's like
Now you're
pipe
going to be
dream.
making up steps just to. It is like Pipe Dream on Windows
Kind of.
95. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
It's a good game. It was no Chips Challenge, but it was a good game.
Chips challenge. I'd love to play that again. Oh yeah, that's good.
It's available. I heard recently. Like they did something to it so it'll work on modern computers, and you can just maybe go straight up buy that thing. So we've got I've got some eyes on there. Look at
Kind of
that.
some
My
lazy.
coworker is celebrating my
So
work
is
here.
that what
Thank
it's
you
like?
so
Hey,
much, Ian.
everybody, look at. I want to look over here. Is that what that's for? Like getting people's attention? It's like, I love this. Everybody,
Who picked these
love.
emojis, I
I love
guess?
it.
I'm not getting any tooltips for it. I could say this is totally lit. I could do that.
Lit. Burn it.
Cool.
Oh, you like
Yeah,
it?
I'm
It's
like,
like, no, I want to burn this to the
I'm
ground.
trying
It's
to light it on
terrible.
fire. I hate it. I hate it. Can I
That
escape out of that? I
no,
can.
Nick.
So
That's
escape gets me out of that emoji mode, which is kind of nice. So okay, then they hit submit. Can I change the background? User tap submit. Can I do brain? Oh, I guess I could go from here and do like back to red. I would probably want to make these not orange anymore.
gross.
We will do this sort of puke brown. Who picked that color? Really?
I
All right,
would.
we'll go
Yeah, it's
purple.
almost like a depressing goldenrod.
Form is incomplete / erroneous.
Oh yeah. What happens
Erroneous,
if there's an
Ian.
error?
It's erroneous. Well, we shoot off that way if there's an
Mm-hmm.
error, and if it's form success, we can go this way. We can go green. Form is accepted, and then
Mm-hmm.
they get a thank you note,
Oh,
which I guess would also be green.
they would get a thank you
Thank you
note. Maybe they get
for
a thank you email.
submitting. For applying, I guess, because this is a job application. So thank you for applying!
Oh,
Exclamation.
and then they'd get an email. How would we do that? Can you change these lines? I wonder.
Change what line?
Hold on. I want to try. Okay, we did
There's
the
different
add.
line types in here. I wondered what they meant.
Yes, that's what I
You
was
can
wondering.
also add text. So on click. Oh wait,
Oh,
yeah,
that's cool.
something like
Oh,
that.
a dotted line. I like that. That's what I wanted.
Form is erroneous, incomplete. User is prompted to correct form, and then they go right back to user tap submit. Oh,
Oh,
dude, this is so good. This is a really, really handy tool.
oh,
I
and
think I
then
can drag this line out to make it a
I
little
was just gonna
less
say that's a little
lame.
too
I
close.
can, but
One
look,
thing
you can do it. They thought of that.
that's perfect. One thing I've learned about flowcharts is, I guess, probably like true about other things, but letting them breathe a bit is good.
Well,
Like giving
that's
them some
everything in design.
space.
Like you'll make something and then you take even graphic design is you take a step back and you're like, wow, that's too.
That's a good tip, even for
Yeah, let it
you
breathe.
know.
Like space is never bad. Nobody dislikes it. Um,
Hold on, I'm gonna.
how do I just like drag a square? Can I just like encase all of this whole area in a square.
Oh,
Like I want to say like this is a form component. This is
yeah.
a piece. This is a piece, and it relates to this. It is a stop. I guess no, it's not a stop on the user's journey. I mean, they can do other things from the single job page, but this is like what,
So we would
the
want, yeah, we
intent.
would have like clicks apply, and then it would
Hmm.
be blah blah blah. Dollar dollar bill, y'all. Make a flow chart. Oh, you can just do regular lines too.
That's pretty cool. Are you dragging that? I guess you are.
What a drag. I'm kind of going between like screens here, multiple personalities, because I want to show the UI for this
Hmm.
instead of just us working. Fantastic. Oh, it remembers the last line type you used. Cool. You can make them thicker. I wish they would. Okay. Since it remembers the last one you used, that's good because I like them to be nice and chunky. I like a chunky and
Oh,
breathable.
good hefty line, like
A nice heft.
sort of like
Yeah.
a Szechuan noodle. You know what I mean? Like a
Yeah, yeah,
soba noodle,
the
maybe.
the thick ones. That's
Hmm.
exactly what I want.
Man, I love those thick noodles. I wish I was eating ramen right now. Although I may be getting some ramen takeout soon because, of course, we are living in a place that just went back down onto a fresh lockdown today. Fresh lockdown, baby.
Fresh
I'm gonna be doing
lockdown,
all
you know,
kinds of design work.
we've been pretty good so far, so, you
We've
know,
been pretty good in this
it's
nameless,
not
faceless place that we live in the world, but
it's not
you know,
unexpected. It's not
I really,
unexpected.
really like this tool. Ian, we're at an hour. Let's take a quick break. We'll
Oh, that
recollect,
is it.
and then we'll maybe continue working on this job site. I am super happy with this tool. I would also say, I know we keep talking about like it's so fun and social, but really, like I think the tone of this app and the way they want you to use it and the way that you get to express yourself between the users is like it's
It's very
amazing.
approachable.
It just makes it inherently more approachable, correct? Yeah,
Yeah.
approachable, and like friendly kind of thing to do.
My
I would not
fear
be surprised if you saw this stamp tool end up in Figma proper someday.
yeah,
Why not?
I could see a more of like a crossover between these for sure. But yeah, I think that let's take a quick 3 to 5 and come back and flow it out. Flow it out in
All right.
FigJam. Getting back into it here. All right, we're back, everybody.
We're back.
We're in Figma's new, I don't know if I'd call it an app or a product, a new feature called
I guess a feature.
FigJam.
It's an app within an app.
It's an app within an app. It's highly cool. It's like a design tool for non-designers. Probably wouldn't market it as that, but sort of. We're just kind of like
it's a whiteboard with like a bunch of fun features for people to sort of mess with. It's
a whiteboard.
It's fun so far. Non-design people are gonna love it, I think. When you have a big team in here to mess with it.
Yeah, and
I'm stoked. I'm glad this thing exists for sure. And they did just sort of drop it for, I guess not free, but
it's free right now. It won't be forever. Yeah.
Oh, really? Is it like an add-on or something?
It'll have its. They mentioned a pricing model for FigJam coming in 2022, so it's free for the rest of the year. That's the plan currently.
It makes sense. It's extremely cool. It's also got a bunch of features, sort of for the social thing, like the badges and the emojis and stuff that would work super well in Figma.
It's a value add. I can see it being part of the service. I hope it's something that you can, I hope there's like pricing structures where I would love to be able to buy FigJam for like the whole company, but then like the main Figma design stuff just for a few of us. Where that would probably be more expensive.
I don't want to have to pay for like an entire like Figma license just to
that would be a harder sell to buy everyone Figma, but to get everyone like a FigJam license. And like I said, like we're actually planning a workshop for next week, and I was like, this is perfect timing because we're gonna be checking it out tonight, and I think people are gonna like it. And one of my challenges is, a company with different types of people that aren't all like designer digital native folks like us. And so they would probably, if left to their own devices, I bet would choose PowerPoint to do what we're trying to do in this. Not to say that that's wrong. You can kind of add squares and put text in them.
But I mean, we have two mice on the screen right now. It's accessible from a web browser. Like there's a bunch of stuff going on here why it's great.
And PowerPoint's a
portability, I guess.
Canvas too. Yeah, portability. It's very like easy to share around. We're using the Figma desktop app, but you can do it in a browser without installing anything. So that's pretty cool. And I think that's been one of the challenges. And kind of like I said, we've defaulted to Word to collaborate in at times because we're doing a lot of writing anyway. And lists,
we use a lot of Google Docs.
But
a lot of Google Docs, a lot of normally to do this kind of exercise with a team where it's like, we're heading into a design, maybe not heading into, we're fixing something, we're working on like a piece of the design. I want to get the entire team's input before we commit to anything. It would usually be me presenting Illustrator or XD or Figma or Sketch or whatever on like a call and just drawing as people talk, like live drawing. Oh, I can just make that bigger. Dope. That's so cool.
Yeah, I've done that.
I can resize this box, and I, as an adult male, am very excited about that. So we were talking about journey maps. I'm going to take a bold step here and just sort of delete all of that. Gone. Right off the screen. I'm going to make a new shape.
I'm going to get rid of this agenda thing. This is kind of cool, but...
That is cool.
We're gonna end up using this. It's stuff that people are gonna, I think that people are gonna be into. This is a tool that people will buy into and I think like to use, and I think in part due to the fact that to be able to contribute to a meeting with this, if you can just click on the marker or like a sticky note and type some words, you can contribute. Right? There's there's kind of three giant buttons here. You can draw things and write and create shapes and write text. Super easy, and that's kind of like, that's the bulk of it, probably.
I got like a sort of a Garfield going on here right now. I feel like that's sort of maybe the test. I have a cool tool. Okay, anyway, I'm sorry. I'm wasting a bunch of time here.
How
I
far can
wanna
we
I
zoom
wanna
in?
map a journey.
Okay, we can zoom in pretty far. All right, so what's their journey of?
I don't know,
Maps?
like what's something simple that we can sort of explain what a user journey map is. I mean, you always see things like when you look up like UX sort of documentation examples online, you always get something like someone is buying bread, and you
What's
get like they walk to the counter and the different user types and stuff like that. Maybe it's just something simple like that.
buying bread? What about what's more fun to buy than bread? Pizza bread?
Pizza bread.
What is that shape? Is that a sticky note that you used? Just
I
just out
think
of
so.
curiosity?
No, that's just a square.
A square.
So
I
I've got
think
like
yeah, I think the square is the better
control
shape
over
to
that.
use. Can I copy your square? I can. Can I dupe your square?
Yeah. It creates the lines between them.
All right.
So I don't
Whoa,
know what
get
kind
all
of
right, why?
what kind of business do we want to do here? I mean, maybe what do people buy? What about like a cool big knife from your local strip mall?
Big knives, those giant knives that like people cut.
Yeah, like a
Those
big
guys
knife
cut
store.
like have you seen those videos where they hang like a pig carcass, just chop it in
I've
half?
I've seen that. I've seen a bit. It's like they're like knife competitions.
It's like, oh yeah, good. I wanted to make sure that I need my knife to be able to do that because that's
Well,
something
no,
that
they
I
like
do.
they compete. There's like an obstacle course, and you like bring your best knife. Like you bring your best knife that you like made or whatever, and you have to run. This is a thing. It exists, and you have to run through this course and like cut things, different ways in a certain amount of time.
Oh,
So, I mean, I definitely want to. I feel like that's probably an avenue we want to explore.
all right. What's so? What is this journey? So the journey is what?
Selecting and purchasing my cool big knife
All right.
from the novelty knife store at your cool local strip mall.
So I'm gonna start. It's good. Why? So what's the point? What point did this guy? Is it? I don't know why I thought it was a guy, but it probably is.
Wow, holy, ooh,
I'm picturing like a
yikes.
dog the bounty hunter kind of character. Maybe that's I'm
Yeah.
jumping too far ahead.
No, like a knife fan, sort of like a mall ninja type. Owns a lot of, swords, that type.
So he's got prob this our customer has a problem.
Okay, okay, we're getting there. I love it.
Okay, well, where does this person keep their own knives that they have?
That's an interesting question.
Because we're gonna do, I think we're
I
gonna
think it's probably
discover
like
that
on
his
the
knives are
walls.
dull.
I sort of see like an apartment with like, they're sort of on the walls. They're like, they're on shelves, sort of, loosely placed. They're dusty. Um, so yeah, I
Hmm.
would say in the home, probably about the
So
home.
approach knife wall, right?
Okay. Wait, is this in the store? Is this in the novelty knife store at your local strip mall?
No, we're still at home. We don't even
Oh,
know we don't even know we're going
the
to the mall
decision
yet.
to buy. We're going back to the decision to buy a big cool knife.
We're going back to the beginning.
Okay.
Um, we could even create like phases of this journey
Mm-hmm.
if we wanted to, like overarching. I'm going to change the color of it. Maybe just see through. gray. Um, you could call this, there's different phases like awareness or discovery. This is where they become aware that they have a problem, or they discover a problem, or they discover their need.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we'll just, for ease of use, we'll call it awareness.
Okay. That's
Wow,
when they become aware that they need to engage with your business. This is 3 or 4 levels deeper than I usually end up going on files, but I love it.
well, I want to really get inside this person's shoes. You know what I mean? I want to put their shoes on from the very beginning and walk in those shoes. And
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like I don't know our buyer enough yet. So I want to
Okay.
know the problem, yeah, that he faced
So,
here.
I mean, I think that the problem is that, one collects these cool novelty knives. They don't have enough of them. They need to wait. Are we talking when you say like when we talk about goals, are you talking about the goals of the user or the goals of the user as projected by the business? So is it like what we want their goal to be?
I mean, we're going to assume that we can satisfy their goal, but it's more their problem or goal. Yeah, in general. It's just in
Mm-hmm.
our case, this is our customer. So we're going to satisfy their goal. How can we satisfy their goal? We need to
Okay.
cut things. So maybe it isn't that they need to cut things. Maybe they're
No, it's
dissatisfied with
about
their
it's about having
current
like this
selection of
big
cool
cool
knives.
collection.
I think that's where we
Yeah.
start.
Hold on.
I don't think these.
Needs to improve collection. Feels the need to improve collection, right?
I think we start here, and then
Ah,
and then
okay.
this comes
Yeah, no,
next.
that's it.
Let's get rid of the knife wall. That's not a crucial part of a journey.
Is it though?
No, the one I like what you had. I think the knife wall was less crucial.
So
Feels
user feels
dissatisfied.
dissatisfied with current selection of cool novelty knives. What do they do from there? Is it a matter of like mapping that the user made a decision?
I'm trying to. Oh, I'm trying to find some
Okay, well, how about
emojis.
this one?
Dang.
User
I wanted to be quicker on the draw
howls
with
out
this.
into the morning light.
These are all too positive. I want some sad people emojis. Yeah. No, this is good.
Okay.
I'm just trying
Okay,
to
you
find
got
the
like
I'm
a
trying to find
monster
the
hand going. That's
appropriate
pretty cool.
reactions.
Oh, look, it's Vector too. Gorgeous.
What are these, Harry Potter?
I
Maybe
hope
not.
so.
Cool.
Officially licensed Warner Brothers Harry Potter icons in Figma. Hey, Figma team, how did you get the WB Harry Potter license? They're like, it's just, sometimes you send the right email. You just got to ask.
Yeah, it's usually just license at harrypotter.com
Yeah, if you just
or
get in touch, they'll give
copyright.
you a flat rate. It's like $5,000. And you can just go ahead and use that magic boy in whatever you want.
It's it's almost a little, like you mentioned, it's very positive, but it's almost a little too positive because I'm trying to find like a frowny face to indicate in our journey are you just having, kind of a negative emotion. We need to capture that, but everything's like too positive here. Even the tombstone has a heart on it. Like, come on. What
A
is
lot of
this?
people are not going to identify that as a tombstone.
Maybe it's not a tombstone. Maybe my head is warped.
No,
And
I
it's
mean
like a
it's a
chocolate.
tombstone.
It
It's
could be
probably a
a
tombstone. It's
ice
sort of
cream
like a
bar.
chocolate tombstone. Do you know what I feel like that is saying is this is a good idea, but we have to bury it. R.I.P. Good idea.
Yeah. Let's bury that for now. Oh, I guess this is like a sad raindrop. Everybody hates the rain.
Oh no.
Hey, cool, a banana peel. Oh man, it's
I like
it's
that drawing.
okay.
That's a good icon of a banana peel.
It's really easy to get distracted in FigJam.
Okay, user feels dissatisfied with current selection of cool novelty knives. And obviously the next step for that consumer is to let loose guttural howls out into the morning light. So they're just sort of they're dropping to their knees. They're sort of sick with grief. They're howling. So we've got them right. Like they need to make that decision. This is the decision point.
This
So
is
maybe it's user recalls ad campaign. Like, would you go as far as that? Like, how did
I
they enter your
would. I like
business?
it. I like it. And that's a good sign that we've got a good ad campaign if they're recalling it.
So
What was the
user recalls. I don't.
oops.
I mean, normally it would be a lot more sort of diverse than just an ad campaign. There'd be like, they found us on Google. They found us through friends. They found us
Yeah,
through
you're right. Where are they recalling it from? A television spot? Name of shop?
user recalls name of
A little word of mouth? A little word of mouth marketing?
heard from friend on social media. Well, now it's just an angry Google Map icon.
Oh my God. Once you see it,
Yeah, right.
angry Google Map icon? That's amazing. You almost can't be too zoomed in. You got to zoom out a bit. Cool. Oh, that's awesome.
You can
Takeaway,
save that one
folks.
for a meeting. People are like, "Oh, it's upside down." You'd be like, "No, it's just an angry map icon," and then you'll get the big promotion finally.
You got the job. You want the job?
You got the job, buddy. All right. User feels dissatisfied with the current selection of cool novelty knives. User lets loose guttural howls into the morning light. User recalls name of shop heard from site. So when you're doing like this kind of, I guess, consumer analysis, do you take things into account like they decided not to? I thought you drew that. It's kind of like, so well done.
They decided not to. I mean, that's interesting, but no, because then they're kind of done, I guess. There's nowhere to go. It's like, yeah, they decided not to, so meeting's adjourned. They
But what
didn't
if
they didn't
like
buy it.
they didn't buy it, they didn't want to buy it? Maybe there's a way to capture them on the back end.
If they get to the site, maybe.
What?
FigJam.
FigJam.
Have you ever had a fresh fig?
I had. I feel like I have because I know what the texture is. I was drawing you for a minute there, but I'm gonna let that one go. A fresh fig. Do you know how figs are pollinated?
Oh, is this the bees and a dead
The
bee in a
wa.
fig
I think it's.
thing? Or
I think
wasp?
it's wasps. Yeah, they bring pollen from other figs. Into like so they feed on figs and they collect pollen and then they go into another fig and then they get stuck in there and the figs like absorb their bodies and digest them and
Mm,
take their wasp nutrients and the pollen and incorporate it into the fig. And so when you're eating a fig, you're eating like dissolved wasps.
pretty cool.
I mean, I'm way in. It's kind of the only way I want to interact with wasps.
That's
This show
yeah.
is
It's the best interaction I've had
devolving
with a wasp.
into what?
It's the best interaction I've had with a wasp is eating its dissolved corpse in a fig by far, no question. Way better than getting
Look,
stung.
Look, give it 15 years, we're all going to be eating wasps and like mealworms and shit. So
Crickets and
might as well
wasps.
get
It's
you
like
see, yeah, cricket meat is like widely available at a really good protein.
I had a cricket bar once. It's
Really?
awful. Yeah, it was disgusting. Absolutely terrible.
Really? Did
And
they
it was
put like,
very
well, hold
expensive.
on. Was it salty or sweet?
Well, it was like one of those like protein bars, but it was made out of cricket. So I was like, you're not even gonna know that it's crickets, but whatever they did, they did a bad job because it's terrible.
I'm assuming it would just taste like honey.
It was bitter. It was
Really?
really bitter, and it was also extremely expensive.
Wow.
Like the Cricut market, it's
It's
like you
somebody.
can't
It
be,
really
you
did
can't.
take the fortitude of somebody to say, "Wow, these crickets taste horrible. Let's charge like more money to be a luxury brand."
You got to be a some kind of fucking trendsetter to buy a eat a to pay more for Cricut than a hamburger.
Have you? Yeah, that's actually a really good point. That's kind of
Yuck.
fair. Have you heard about this new algae protein on the alt milk scene? That's like
No,
kind of cool right now. It's
I
like
have
some sort
not.
of algae protein that they're going to make the next sort of almond milk out of. Because apparently, and I didn't know this, almonds are extremely expensive to grow. They like you have to like chew up the earth and feed it into
Oh man, they
some
take a
sort
lot of
of earth
water too.
grinder to like grow almonds apparently.
Water
And
and
water,
bees.
yeah.
They ship bees. They gather up the bees from like all across North America and like drive them down to California to pollinate the almond trees. Like a lot of
Wow.
bees, not all of them, but like yeah, they bring them in. It's kind of messed up.
That's pretty cool. I enjoy bees.
Bees.
Bees has nothing to
Bees.
do with figs.
I can draw a bee. Probably one of the only things I can draw.
Okay, draw a bee.
It's a red bee. Probably should be yellow.
All right, well, bees aren't red, so
Start over.
hold on. I've got something for this.
That looks like a bee.
Does look like a bee.
This is a not. My other red bee was way better. I wish you could fill. Guess you kind of can. I zoom in for.
There was probably definitely a decision made at some point where they're like, look, this just can't be like a
We're not
drawing
making
fun
like.
time thing.
Yeah, we're
Because
not
all of a
making
sudden we're going to
paint.
have these two fucking yahoos in a real important meeting just sitting here drawing with the pencil tool all night. I like that the Control Z works as well as it does on this thing.
It's pretty wild, eh? I'm amazed that it functions. I feel like people have been trying to do stuff like this for a while, like co-browsing and stuff.
Yeah,
Like where you
it's
just have
it's
multiple people viewing stuff at once.
I feel like there's a lot of examples like that in tech where people had ideas and they sort of surfaced and they're really neat and then they went away because to do them right, like the technology had to catch up. Like I remember even in the dial-up days, there were things like 3D chat rooms,
3D
happening in a
chat.
browser. Yeah, VRML chat was a thing. I mean, virtual reality has been around for a long time. Um, what was the feature we were just talking about? Sorry, I'm so into drawing my bee right now. I
Co-browsing.
can't even think.
Yeah, it's hard to like
Co-browsing.
do both at
Yeah,
the
there
same
was
time.
cool stuff like that. Even MySpace had like HTML and CSS editing, so you could like sort of in a weird, almost inline way, like edit the layout of your site, which was really cool back then, but obviously could not be done properly for years and years after that.
Mm.
Probably still isn't. Squarespace is pretty neat, I guess.
Yeah, the last frontier.
If
Maybe.
you could co-design in Squarespace, I would call it a prototyping tool. Like, or that the future of Squarespace or a tool like that would be in rapid prototyping because it's
Mm-hmm.
much more powerful than it seems.
That would be cool. Just like a rapid co-prototyping.
Well, sort of the way that you prototype in Figma now, but like more drag and droppiness. Like I don't want to design the elements, I just want to drop them on there. Again,
Mm-hmm.
to get that initial impression, like I need a form, and also this form is flexible and works in like a browser environment would be really cool. I know that there's component libraries out there and whatnot, but it would be fun. All right, how's your bee doing?
It's doing all right.
I'm kind of impressed, like how many vectors I was able to draw into this thing, and it's not causing me any like issues yet. Oh, sorry, I grabbed your wing. Can I group things? I can. You can group things. There doesn't seem to be a layer palette at all in here, but
No, that's a big difference, and that's probably like a good thing
you can
ultimately.
still group things. Like you can, and I can still click in here and like mess with it and change things, and that's cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
what is the
you
group?
can.
Oh, I see. How do you group stuff?
I'm
Just
just Command G. I
okay.
don't know if you can do nested groups or groups beyond more than one level or whatever, but
Okay, so yeah, we can go like so yeah, this bee I guess is made up of each little stroke that I did.
yeah, yeah, like
Cool.
each stroke that you put in here counts as a different vector object or
That makes
whatever.
sense. So then I can select this, try and select only it, and then group. Wonder what happens if, oh, alignment. Good thing there's a Command Z because I'm about to see what happens when I click that. Okay, so
Okay,
that's
yeah, alignment tools are like super handy.
this is artistic. Look, this is my B when everything is like center aligned.
I love it.
This is a B when
That is art.
everything becomes aligned top. Oh, okay. Actually, I think this could become like a piece of art, a little art grid.
Yeah, I'll get in touch with Super Rare. We can do like an NFT, maybe like an NFT
Yeah.
art show for this one.
There.
B fight.
B fight.
The alignment tool is really cool. It exists in like most pieces of software. But you could have like a row of boxes like this. Where is that align tool?
It's when you select
Window.
your object. It just kind of
Oh, that's
pops
really
up
cool. And
contextual
then I
over
can
it.
just like bump them into a line. So, I mean, if you have a lot of stuff or you're dragging things around, one of my practices is it's like, okay, well, this seems straight on screen and that's fine for me. Actually, this is because everything snaps. Is you can just hit that align tool and pull it all together. That is so cool and neat.
Ooh,
And
I just crashed one of my
we're
Figma windows. I was going too fast.
I haven't had a problem. I've been sitting here sketching this bee, and part of the reason is because I feel like I want to stress the app out, but it's totally fine.
Look, this
Nothing's
one's
been.
this is frozen. Woo. Okay. Well, our
What is?
first
I see you moving around.
this little bee, my this window's completely frozen. Oh, it just unfroze. Magic.
That almost never happens.
Oh, I think we're in trouble again. Yeah. I'm gonna close it and come back in.
Cool.
It won't affect the stream, but
I don't think you'll probably just like your cursor
no,
just shows up.
the one we're streaming from is fine. It's the one I'm working out of that broke.
Right.
I was
So
hitting.
tell
I
me
was
more
trying to.
about your journey mapping. I feel like this is sort of something that you do a little bit more than me.
Yeah,
I'm usually on the end of things where it's like we've marketed to someone and they already want to buy our product. Like, how can you help them do that?
yeah,
Not that
and
I specialize that in specifically or anything, but do you know what I mean? Like,
mhm.
usually when a vendor engages like an agency, it's because, or sorry, usually when a client engages a vendor, it's because they're already like there. It's like, okay, we have this thing or we have something we want to do and we need to do it properly.
Man,
Anyway, sorry. Tell me about your journey maps, Ian.
my
Journey by map.
Figma keeps
Map me a
freezing.
journey.
Mapping journeys. Well, for us, it's like our product and our users are sort of complex, and there's like we have different types of users that actually what's going to turn out, and what we want to what we've kind of what I've kind of realized we need to unearth a little bit is that there's quite different journeys even for the same like types of people and different users, kind of depending
Hmm.
on where they're starting from, like our knife guy. Um,
I'm sorry. Hold on. Stop everything. Did you just burp on stream?
I
On
didn't.
this stream?
No,
Really?
zero.
Really? I had the most amazing audio hiccup, and
Like
it
what?
sounded like you burping.
Like an audible burp, or was I trying to
It sounded like an audible, like
like I
human
opened my
indigestion noise,
like I
but it
opened
was
my
great.
mouth and was like I'm burping like consciously?
Yeah, like I'm not judging.
No, because
Um,
there's a there's a probably a
I
two or
feel like
three
we need to
percent
get that kind of
chance.
connection going with our audience.
I think there's a 2 or 3% chance that I burped and didn't know it. Um, because
I'm
COVID's had that
constantly
effect.
afraid of doing that on the
COVID's had that
stream. Like,
effect on me where it's been to the extreme version of forgetting what like I was just doing. So it's possible I did burp and I've already forgotten.
so, I mean, we're both UX designers, so we both work with like tech agencies where we, spend our days making stuff on laptops. How are you finding it, like being in an almost strictly work from home environment? You're actually pretty far away from your office.
Yeah. Well, now that I'm in Halifax and my office is based in Toronto, it's it's weird. I mean, we're pretty. I think we're in terms of like getting our work done, we're doing pretty well. Us digital folks, I think we're ready for this. Like it's familiar. But I'm missing like those whiteboard sessions. Funny that we're talking about this specifically,
Yeah.
and I'm hoping maybe this like and that this just the hanging around and chatting about stuff and just kind of whiteboarding and um, just an easy open conversations. I haven't found a great replica of that yet, and I think kind of it is in part because of just the different types of tools different people are comfortable with
It
using.
I mean, that's a good point. That's maybe one of the reasons why something like this is so exciting, is because, again, those fun social features allow you to sort of replicate that, because I miss that too. I know as a designer, I definitely struggled with it at first in the pandemic, where now, not that I have pandemic issues, because we are super lucky to be working in the industry we're in, but um, I had issues where I was really used to presenting designs to roomfuls of people, and I
Oh yeah.
could see their faces and I could hear the reactions and I could
Mm.
feel the vibe of the room, and I just felt a lot more comfortable in that environment. And then all of a sudden you're presenting on Zoom and it's this sort of quiet, emotionless room, and people are like reading their fucking emails on their phones while they're listening to your thing and stuff, and that's all good, but I feel like giving users tools to emote and to sort of communicate and have fun with each other starts to fill in that gap.
That's a
Because I mean, that's
really
half the reason we started this stream, was like we used to have these conversations every day with like coworkers and stuff. And now we're sort of out of that environment. How do we keep talking about design?
that's an interesting point that it's a bit different for me. Um, Presenting stuff, because it's a little bit more incremental
Mm-hmm.
when we're doing, features and stuff. But like presenting, like back in the agency world, yeah, presenting is a bit of a bit. It's kind of a big deal, right? And not being able to look around and see people's reactions, because I'm kind of dealing with that sometimes now, where yeah, you just get silence, and based on this particular group that I'm thinking of in my head, it's like silence is kind of a good thing. Like it means like everything's good, but I wonder if that's always the case. Like I wonder if like I wonder if anyone is just kind of like, oh, I don't understand, but I don't want to be the only one to say anything. Whereas in a room, you would pick up on like maybe their eye movements, like looking around, but you don't get that
Yeah, you can
now.
sort of feel it, yeah, to a certain degree.
That
And
would be
it's
tough.
hard. Like a lot of people aren't really comfortable with being on camera. I think inherently people a lot of people aren't comfortable being on camera. And that can add to it too,
Mm.
because like, again, like, well, not again, but take UX as applied to like the Zoom experience. When you start talking, your picture overtakes the entire screen. And that's a
Oh
really
yeah, that.
weird, intimidating thing that I think people quarrel with. So I even feel sympathetic, or like, I mean, not to get too far into it, but younger developers that kind of feel a bit shy about speaking up and they have something really valuable to say is a little bit hard. So yeah, I struggled with that at the beginning of the pandemic. It was like, oh man, what if everyone just hates my work? But it wasn't. It's that weird sort of disconnect. And I hope that a tool like this can fill that in for me.
I like it, and I'm like, well, we've been using Miro, you and I, on stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and I like it for that too. It's it's like this, but it's got like a million more features, and I think it's probably got some definite uses. But the trouble is, it's a separate thing that you have to download, and that's a bit of a barrier. And I'm thinking like it has a lot of stuff. Like this is so simple that it's almost like impossible to kind of
It does have quite a bit of
get
stuff.
lost in
And
it.
I don't, well, it's the color thing. Like, I don't want to have too many options because the people that are working on this file with me are like potentially project managers. They're
Hmm.
sales people. They're totally like non-design design people. And it's like the same that you do with napkin drawings or wireframes. I just want to remove that layer from it so that we can just focus on the informational part.
Yeah, just what's important, or just what you
Why am
kind
I
of want to
doing
get from
this?
them
Why am I
too.
doing this? Sorry, go ahead.
No, just like if you give them the power to design, like if you give them too many tools, they might use them. Kind of like I can get stuck prototyping sometimes and messing around where it's like I don't really need to be just because it's there.
Yeah.
So if you kind of limit what people have access to, then we kind of keeps everybody focused. I was thinking about Miro too, and I saw
Hmm.
on the tweet of this from Figma, someone had replied with like a meme of like a bunch of people. Figma's carrying the casket of like Miro and Mural,
Yeah,
and I'm
yeah.
like, you know what? I'm kind of thinking like we're using this, and I want to use it at work actually, but we probably wouldn't have used Miro in the end anyway, just because a separate app, and we would have ended up having to pay for it with the amount of users we would want probably, and it would have
Hmm.
been a hard sell. And I think if you're a paying Miro user right now, I can't really see you switching over to this instantly because all your stuff is there. It's probably got features. It definitely has way more features, and if there's some of those features that you use, like even just the different templates that they have. I'm sure FigJam might catch up if they deem it necessary, but I don't think you would abandon if you're hardcore into using Miro, you're not going to abandon it right away for this. And I think the people that are going to start picking this up right now weren't Miro's customers to begin with. So I almost don't see them as like I almost don't see this as hurting Miro's business right away. And I think Miro could, or even Mural. I think they're similar. I haven't used Mural before, but that's my impression. Is that they can possibly stay competitive. The use cases might be a bit different. Maybe a lot of people are like us, where we want to design in Figma and then do some kind of quick whiteboarding over in FigJam. And Miro people have
Hmm.
got, I don't know.
I
It,
mean,
it,
I know for me, I have like really specific places in the workflow where I feel like this kind of thing fits in. But you're right, like it's not a Miro killer, at least
it
not
might not.
immediately.
Yeah, it could be.
But is that not so the design community to, there's a piece of software that everybody likes, the next piece of software comes out, and all of a sudden the piece of software that you were using originally is horrible and everyone hates it and it's no good and there's a million reasons not to use it.
Well, yeah, Sketch used to be like whoa, the
Sketch
new
was the
the
big
new cool
killer and it
kid on
never
the
came
block.
around. And then XD, I mean, XD is a good piece of software, but I think designers are going to inherently push against it because it's Adobe, and there's this sort of hate.
Hmm.
I don't know. I mean, maybe we can use the last 10 minutes to talk about this. Um, a lot of what I hear is that Figma is more capable than XD, and I don't think that's true. I think it's probably a matter of preference.
XD, I mean, I guess the big difference is I think the multiplayer. I would choose Figma over XD. XD's made a lot. XD has caught up quite quickly. For the
Mm-hmm.
longest time, Figma, I think Figma is probably always going to be ahead of XD. And I think they had a little bit of an advantage where Adobe was like you know, wasn't Adobe never was made for designing digital products. Like it
Well, hold on. XD was.
XD was, but Adobe's whole business was around kind of more like graphic and art stuff, right? And then
Yeah.
people used it to design products, and then all of a sudden, Sketch came out and stuff like that, and it was like this is a redesign from the ground up, made for designing digital products, and it doesn't have red eye reducer in it. It's like thought of from the ground up for
Mm-hmm.
digital product design. Um, and I think it took Adobe a really, really, really long time to make XD. And so yeah, that is kind of their response to it. But man, they were really slow at kind of getting there. And I think the main reason that, and if you're familiar with the whole, I don't know if you would call it the Adobe ecosystem, but I think there's lots of
Well,
reasons that
yeah.
would keep you inside of it. And it's not just like, oh, I can't just switch to Figma from Adobe because there's all kinds of other stuff that you might be using. Whereas Sketch was very easy to replace with Figma
Uh,
because it was a very carbon copy.
Sketch was a copy of Figma.
Or
What year was Figma originally released?
I think Figma's 5 years old. Or you know what I
Is
mean
it?
though, like Figma, like
So Figma
Sketch
and
doesn't have
XD came.
anything that
Figma and
Figma doesn't
XD were
have.
released like generally the same year. Sketch is much older.
Yeah, Sketch has definitely been around because I remember when XD came out, Sketch was kind of like mainstream-ish, and I used XD, and
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, this doesn't do anything when it first came out. Now it's quite capable, so they definitely made some strides. But I don't know. Figma's pretty
I
smart.
I'm not in a hurry. I'm not. I'm not in a hurry. I maybe there's a better way to rephrase it. I think that organizations kind of get caught in the Adobe loop
Hmm.
because there's other software and there's sort of licensing packages that you need to use or that you need to have access to sort of be like a, I guess, fully equipped designer, especially if you're working in any graphic design. And you get stuck there because I know for me, I would love to move to a Figma license, but can't because it's an organizational decision.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, that's probably like the biggest point of all is like I like Figma, but I didn't choose to use it. Like that was what when I started this job is was what we decided to use for what they had decided to use for various reasons, mainly because it's Windows and Mac. Um, so
Mm-hmm.
yeah, because and I had used Sketch before that. So yeah, a lot of the times you don't really get to choose what you use. And I think because so many, especially like creative agencies with like a really strong creative side would already have all the Adobe licenses and stuff. And like you have like fonts, like you know what I mean? Like I definitely see the advantage. Like you've got like all the fonts and stuff built in, and that's something that I don't
There's
really
definitely an
have.
ecosystem that matters. I mean, I know for me, like I generally generate a lot of my own assets, so like iconography and that sort of stuff. As much as I'm involved in the UX side of things, I also have like a sort of a creative art
Mm-hmm.
direction side of things that I have to take care of on the product, or on the project rather. So all of those things matter a lot. But yeah, then you get stuck in the Adobe ecosystem. It's like everything feeds out of Creative Cloud, which is a terrible platform But it is really cool because I enable fonts from Typekit and all of a sudden I can use them. Whoa,
What?
emoji
Yeah,
storm.
like there's definite advantages in how those things all connect to each other, it seems.
I mean, at the end of the day, collaboration is king. I don't know about you. For me personally, like the next big movement, I think in how I handle the design process is using tools like this to involve as many people upfront as humanly possible.
Yep.
Even the client could the client not be in on a session like this where you're going, okay, here's what you want to solve. Like, we are knowledgeable people that can just sit here and talk about this all day if you want. Like, let's hammer it out. What do you want?
Mm-hmm. I think
Get developers in there that
100%.
can start to think about estimating that as you're talking. um, you're just sort of sorting it out.
And you can get it started, and then they can easily like react and then start to join in. I think it's a lot of potential. Um,
It's okay. So at the end of this whole chat, I'm going to give it a strong okay. Probably still use XD, right? Is that what you're feeling?
okay, I'll give it an okay with an exclamation mark.
Okay, no, that's pretty good. I'm actually very auspicious on this for Mr. Figma, who I know is listening. I want to integrate this as soon as I can. I know I'm going to get the design team that I work with every day messing with this as soon as possible.
Yeah, I'm hoping to try it out tomorrow and see if it'll work for our workshop, which I think it will. And like, yeah, like you said, like getting other people, like getting this in the hands of other people. Like I try and think of like, all the different tools that I use to get to solve design problems. The big thing, of course, is like using Figma to actually design the things, but
Hmm.
we have like like we do journeys, and we did like we're doing journeys and flowcharts. I've suggested things like even just like write a story of just like paragraphs, if that's all, if that's how you think, um, about like what the user's going through. So anyway, that all that to say is like people having like easy access. You get into the fluffy words like democratizing design and like
Hmm.
spreading design thinking across the company, but like that's kind of true. um, that
Well,
is kind of
if
what we
I
do,
think if
what it can do, right? Like it does allow people to kind of become like use the same tools that we use as designers, just that are a little bit made for them, a bit more geared towards them, I guess.
yeah, I mean, I feel a little bit selfish in that pursuit where I think it's about sort of if you're working with a large team, and I think if you give them some ownership over the idea, or you help them
Mm,
have some ownership over the idea, they're much more invested in creating that product better. Like, as much as we're going to storyboard this thing and design it, there's a staff of 12 developers that are going to go absolutely bang their head against the wall for 4 months trying to make it.
hmm.
So I mean, any sort of chance that you can democratize that design or involve their voice up front, like, they just feel more a part of it. I'm
Yeah,
talking about developers like they're like these sort of other people, but they on the project they serve an
yeah,
incredibly
they
important role, and you got to
sit in a
think about
dark
them. You got to think
room.
about what makes them comfortable and happy. And if you just sort of, as the designer, kick in the door and go, no, this is it. I made this. Have fun.
Yeah,
That would
that
make
isn't
me feel
fun.
pretty shitty too.
Yeah, 100%.
So I feel
Cool.
like that takes us to 2 hours. I mean,
That's
we
it.
were going to story map something, but I feel like I'm happy to discuss this stuff with you anytime.
Yeah, we'll get there. We did a little journey.
We do a little journey.
We
You
took
get
a
it?
we put on some we put on the shoes of our user and took a few steps. So
Took a few steps. We fell down. We got back up. We dusted ourselves off. That's the user journey.
we've
We want
mastered
them to.
FigJam, and we're ready to spread design, and design thinking, and all of the philosophies about centering the user in those designs.
Okay.
Um,
I want to hear more about your philosophy.
No, that's about it. Where it's the philosophy of
That's about it. Just center them. Just, I don't know. Make
we're
sure
gonna
that
use
the
Figma to we're gonna use FigJams in our company now.
we're gonna use FigJams.
We're
Don't
bringing this to
forget,
work, everybody. Special
talk to
edition.
talk to the user. Special edition, hot off the presses.
Hot
I'm
off
gonna
the
make a
press.
case
This
in
is
my
the
organization tomorrow to buy this immediately.
this
I'll
has
quit.
been
I'll say I'll quit right now if you don't buy this piece of software. This has been the Hi There Show. Thank you so much for joining us. It's
oh,
11
good.
o'clock.
FigJam, everyone. Good night.
Good night.
And
Bye
download
bye.
Figma if you want, whatever.
Yep. Email acquisitions@figma.com to get your copy today. I don't know. I'm kidding. That's it.